Well, good morning. And the soul exchange is right here. What do we have? Let's find out. So somebody is getting it right. Damn it. It is that same one. When I look at the heroes that exist, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 I have, which means 7 I don't have. Now, out of the 7 that exist, I don't want Kiana, I don't want Ranveer. Not interested in this very old Natalia. Oh no, I already have him. Maybe Zone, but not so gung-ho. Then thinking, possibility, and the only fellow who is worth looking at, Asterius. So it's going to be, for me, between Asterius and Morale. I don't have Morale, so that's the funny part. Nothing else. And that's what makes this whole terrible. Like the previous one was like, oh my god. It was the first, I still remember my first reaction seeing it, and this one is like, this is pathetic. But okay, that's my view. That need not be the general view. I also would like to say, leave a thought over here that, SG needs to innovate instead of going through the same old stupid way. And I call it stupid not because of lack of intelligence, but lack of innovation and creativity. I find that, there could be 1 or 2 heroes of the previous Soul Exchange also, because some players may have wanted a hero from there. So it should not be a situation where the hero is just gone forever from Soul Exchange. Innovate. And that's what I would suggest, that the players can also write more on the forums so it gets communicated to the gamers, the game company. I have written about it, but I think I did it about a week back. So that's pretty late because this was already pumped into the update. So let's go through each of the heroes. Don't go by my whole sentiment. I will still talk about each of the heroes, which many players would have heard about. So very quickly, in the 10 hero range, Kiana, she is an old hero of the month. You can see the stats. That's the family bonus, which enhances defense, which means the 708 automatically but alone itself goes to 778, 10% or 779. She damages 1 target and the neighbors get a buff which keeps going up and recovers health. So I wouldn't say she's a bad hero. Average speed. Ranveer is, I would say, a good hero. 2019, which means the attack goes up. Holy. 768 will obviously go up by himself above 800 because it's 10%. And health is on the lower side. What does he do? Yeah, and he has a passive against resistance against poison. He bangs 1 target, but the key point is all allies get this 195 attack and minus 35 accuracy. So there's a balancing that happens over there. And all holy allies get plus 46. So when he fires, this 782 goes significantly higher. So that's there. The health is what? So whenever one is embleming, the logic that I will apply is attack and defense is already taken care. This 1126 is such a low health. It's lower than a 4 stars health. So, or I would say even a 4 stars starting health. That's a joke. So it's going to be health all along, so he stays alive to do whatever. Good part is his fast speed. That 195 attack does offset the minus 35 accuracy. So in an overall play, this guy causes absolute mayhem. I have had her like since whenever. Nature, sorcerer, very high attack, low defense. When you look at it, attack gets even up, but it depends on two heroes. So by herself, nothing much is going to happen. And again, so the attack in mana gen is the typical pirate family bonus. What does she do? Average speed, target and nearby enemies receive 869 damage over turn. So the damage over turn is something that is not so fancy in today's playing style meta, because one doesn't have time. One is basically hoping for an extra turn, whereas the opposite defenses are out to get you as early as possible. So, and plus she has average speed, so a lot of things are going against her when I look at this stuff. But when she was released, maybe in 2019 or maybe 2020, she would have been an absolute rock star. She cleanses and gives damage over time. So fantastic. With that, an 805 would have been a super duper attack. It would have been like today's 900 starting attack. So that's her. Natalia, when she was launched, she was crazy. But so this defense automatically takes this one to 730, 40, around that range. So the family bonus sorts that out. Sorcerer, so fast speed, she can mess around with other people's mana, the opposite fellow's mana. We go straight into the Burning Chain special. At fast speed is target receives again a damage over time, 4 turns, and it cannot be cleansed. So that's one typical. The target slows down significantly. Deals extra damage against nature, okay, and 10% mana generation for all fire. So okay, in a mono team, she would play a role, but damage over time, as I said in the previous hero, Lady Locke, Natalia falls into the same zone. The only difference is she is fast speed. So, well, on offense, I can control and do this, you know, fire her special. I was going to say snipe, but then, of course, damage over time is nowhere even close to quarter of a snipe. So, again, outdated hero. Stats, that 1419 health is high, so maybe she'll survive more, but I'll leave it at that. Raphael is a good hero. We all have used. He came in 2020. I had started playing around that time. He was one of the early heroes of the month. Maybe I think in my 5th or the 6th months I started playing in the Vela month. So we would have gone through 5 cycles and he would have come. So in the 6th month of my play. Monk has that benefit. Ailments, resistance is really good stats, I would say, and heals all allies who are less than 50%, brings them straight to 50%. So almost dead fellows are at 50 minimum. Then the allies regenerate 812 HP over 4 turns, which is fantastic. Cleanses status ailments of all. Element link gives plus 30 defense. So this 803 goes very high and gives all allies. So on a mono team, absolute top. But overall also he's a good, when I look at the multi-part of his specials, so he's a good fellow. And if somebody's searching for a good ice healer, though most people would have picked up Ariel, who came in the first Soul Exchange, but he is a good candidate, I would say. Senan, well, part of the Slayer family, has this particular bonus, which is available for once, 50% chance to receive the following stacks, which is 10 HP per turn generation and plus 5% mana. Passive reduces status ailments damage. Mana messing around through the sorcerer talent stats. Very balanced stats, I would say. I recently got him from the challenge festival. 275 damage, and that's when I actually really hope that this wasn't the list, because they've been roaming around, but it looks like SG leaks the list out in some way, or people leak the list out in some way. Whatever. So 275 damage to all enemies is always welcome, because damage all helps. And then comes the bigger pain. Summons a Spectre Fiend for all enemies. The Fiend does the 45 damage per turn, 45 attack per turn, and absorbs healing to the tune of 30% of target's max health, and stacks I already spoke about. So there you go. The family bonus gives that, and this comes in 5% mana gen and 20. So the stack doubles when you fire him first. So I would say a good hero to get. And if you have other slayers, then it's always brilliant to have. You can, stack up the heroes, especially during rush. We go to the season 4 chick, Auda. The rogue itself makes her valuable. This has those gems pop out. That's a family bonus available for 1. First time character receives special skill damage, additional 30% power, deals damage, additional 30% power is added to its power. When you look at the stats, 811, 782, 1293. So it's the health that needs a little bit of improvement. Blade of Bundelkhand. Bundelkhand happens to be a region of a province in north of India. So this chick is supposed to be Indian. She does look dusky and pretty like Indian ladies. I can confirm that for sure. And you can guess why and how. She deals 450 damage at fast speed to the target, which is good at 811. She deals an additional if the target has boosted health. So Auda is worth getting. I have her, so that's why I wasn't so excited seeing the list. So, and I have to still level her up, so I'm not trying to be a little pompous, but the point is there are certain more utility heroes that are useful in today's meta, and that's the one that happened. So there, but I'm searching for a space to level her up, so she is really worth it. Celine, old chick in the game, though when you look at her, you don't find her old in any kind of a way. Angely Wings. So she is part of the 218. So there is a defense improvement. Wizard class gives a bigger bang depending on the opposite team's buff. Going forward, she at fast speed, she has these stats. Now defense obviously goes up, so it automatically improves with that family bonus. The health is where you need a little bit of improvement to make her more survivable. And she deals 143 damage to all enemies. All enemies get reduced attack for 4 turns, extra damage against ice, dispels buff from all enemies. And that is really brilliant. So she's doing quite a lot of things. And then the element link gives plus 10% mana generation for all nature. So she's been used really to top effect, especially on mono teams by people, or 3-2 combos where the nature fellows really jump up, charging up faster. So, and it's an undispellable element link. I think most of them are. So Celine is worth it if one is searching for dispellers. Unfortunately, for me, quite a few dispellers already in the roster, so adding one more, and those tonics are really valuable because there are, I think, 2-3 heroes who've been like waiting for their turn, and surprisingly, Liana has been waiting for her turn along with her costume, because there is always somebody important like an Al-Nadaha, or prior to that, somebody else, Queen L. So those have taken precedence. So Celine is worth it via Soul Exchange, because Soul Exchange reaches out to many, many players. She's really worth it. I don't have the space, because when I'm looking at the list, she would be one of the top 5 that I would like to take. but then there are only 7 that I can go for. So she is somebody that I would take if I didn't have another pressing choice. Castrell, pirate family dude, where I think SG needs to improve this to 1. So 2 fellows give a higher attack and mana. The percentages are there. Moving forward at fast speed, pirate shot delivers fairly a good stats. So I would say not too much will get him straight away into a good safe zone. What does he do? 215 damage to the target and nearby enemies, but it becomes even better. The more mana the enemies have, the damage they will receive can go up to 335. So the fellow could be half dead, but going to fire, he turns that around. So it's situational. I have seen players use him in events quite a bit because this damage can really help. And you know, for today's meta, these stats might be low, but when he came, it was top high. So he has his use. I would say a decent hero. Come down to Theobald, part of the Starfall family. So this bonus is really cool. Blah 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 % chance to cleanse the hero's most recent cleansable status ailments, which means he can cleanse out Alfrike. Remember that. Monk has its benefits. He's slow speed and multi-throw. What does he do? 415 damage to the enemy with the highest remaining HP, and rest of the fellows get 260 damage. And then comes the real crazy, but it's again conditional. All allies reflect all status effects back to the attacker and block their negative effects from enemies that are nature. So only the effects of nature go back. All allies get plus 45 attack and further increase. So the attack buff is there. So in Rush, he's an absolute gem because when you look at all the stuff that he's doing. But again, situational when it comes to the counter attack or the reflect part. Worth looking at depending on your roster. And here comes, I would say, the hero that I would recommend the highest, which is Onyx. Ranger class has its bypass benefits. Family bonus requires 2 heroes, but the benefit is they dodge and they counter attack. So they are able to do both. And they do that fairly regularly, even though that percentage of 5 and 10% seems to be small. Stats right there, top stats, good attack. And I would say fairly decent defense. It can be spruced up by emblems. And health is there, so that adds to his survivability. 3 mana charges like all ninjas. The important part is he damages the target with the first one, second one he damages target nearby, and third one he damages all. Now what does he do? Crazy. He makes the enemies immune to new status effect buffs for 5 turns in the third, 4 turns in the second, and 3 turns in the first charge. First charge is 6 tiles, which means against taunt or against, especially the taunt, because when the taunt takes off, that hero just shuts himself, heavy defense up, and the rest of the fellows get whatever. So on charge 1, I have used him so many times against a Black Knight to just not get his taunt going. The buff still happens. The attack up of Black Knight still happens, or any other, the buff of mana generation buff of Ludwig still happens, but their taunt doesn't go up, which means either my Hera can steal those buffs, or I can dispel it using another dispeller. So that's there. Or he can, if there are enough tiles, then he can charge up and he can clear it off quickly. So I would say he is brilliant. And of course, when you look at these damage percentages at 803, absolute killer. Go for him. Director Zuri. Well, we know what this does. Cleanses out at the end of the turn. Sorcerer messes with mana. And stats are brilliant, I would say. And as you add the emblem nodes, they go high. I mean, she, in my case, is at 10 or 11, and she's already nicely stacked up in terms of her stats and survivability. Now what she does is crazy. Recovers 65% health for the ally with the lowest remaining HP, which means one ally becomes almost 100%. And the rest of the allies get 42%. So they also reach pretty high. Summons a clown minion for each ally with 15 HP and 22 attack. Now 15 HP is not so crazy high, but 22 attack is, I would say, fairly good. So 15 HP is not weak, but not high. And 22 attack is fairly decent. So the fellows are bulky and they whack. So that's an added benefit. So she plays the role of an attacker, cleanses status ailments of all allies. So she is a brilliant healer. I rate her today at par or even a little notch higher than Ariel. And Ariel has been an evergreen top healer. This one is, if I have to take Ariel or Director Zuri, I don't even blink and take Director Zuri. Ariel's one benefit of speeding up the mana is useful, but when I look at what she provides, is really helpful. Those minions are available right there and then instead of, depending on tiles, because that helps instantly, and whatever is instantly available is more valuable than coming over time. I think that's a new term, COT, or comes over time. Coming might go in another thought or zone. Now comes the real badass queen, Queen L. She can bypass. This depends on two heroes, but this is a real painful family bonus. And when you look at the stats, those are top stats. At fast speed, Queen L deals 320 damage to the target nearby enemies, and the caster gets additional plus 40 power for the next special skill that they cast, which is the next whack, which increases each turn up to a maximum of 200. So it can go, she can deliver up to 520 to 3. Her first hit itself is almost 70% kill. And if she just does a few slash while she's charging up, you're dead. But if she gets a chance to deliver the second one, even though you may have healed, that 520 is going to whack you out. So she does it to 3. Brilliant hero. I don't need to say anything further than that because there's nothing else on the card. Simple, straightforward, whack. Top hero. She gives competition to Onyx, depends on what your roster requires, but it's really fantastic to see two of the top heroes on offer in the 20 hero range. Asterius, so I don't have him, and I have the rings, which means there's a very high possibility that he might be the one I'll pick up, and I have room for adding some reds. So having said that, let's move forward. Yeah, he can get a minion, chance to heal and deal damage when attacking. So, excuse me. That's the family bonus. Stats, balanced stats. Just one node will take this close to 1400, the health. So good, and I think in about 3-4 nodes, the attack, the defense, and the health would put him into a good zone. What does he do? Deals 360 damage to the target and nearby enemies, reduces the duration of the target and nearby enemies buff by 1. Okay, his average speed, so that doesn't make any significant difference. The damage is good. Target and nearby enemies receive corrosive burn damage for 3 turns. The corrosive burn damage deals 101 burn damage and lowers the target's defense by -16 each turn. Okay, so can give -48. Obviously it's damage over turn reduction. Corrosive adds to that 360. So he is painful. He starts the corrosive, and I know the corrosive is really painful. When it starts, I try my best to whack him whenever I'm facing him on defense. So that's there. Good hero. Morale. Now, how many of us have faced this simple fellow delivering simple whack? Bypasses. Come on. There's a gem that spawns, which gives mini whacks. Absolutely fantastic stats, very well balanced. And the passive is deals additional 30% added to the power. So 180 becomes 220 damage to all enemies first time. The first whack is really bad. And all enemies get minus 34 defense. And many times we have faced him, obviously on the left flank or the left wing, depending on what the hero mix is there on the defense. So he can be used both on offense and defense, and that's what makes him absolutely valuable and useful. And come to think of it, I'm just going to go back to this page, this snap. In 20, all heroes can be used brilliantly on offense and defense. So, and that's what makes them extra special this time. That I'm going to add to that part. So we're always searching for, can I have a hero that I can use in offense and defense? Well, all these 5 can be. There are a few above also, but these 5 fellow in 20 hero tier can be on both offense and defense. So Morale is fantastic hero, and also has me thinking whether I pick up, because a defense down hero is always useful. And I currently I use defense down of Finlay. So Finlay gives the defense down to 1, and if I bring Morale, which means Finlay will be dead in my roster. So that's the thought that comes. And I have Frigg that delivers. Okay, Morale's 34% is consistent. Frigg can go higher and significantly higher, and also a bit lower than this, depending on the tiles that are there on the board. So I'm just thinking whether Morale will be worthy. But if a hero comes and just negates another hero in the roster, then I'm just thinking, is it really worth it? So that's the thought that's going on. I will not do my hero trade right now. I'm going to let it pop up and maybe do it later today or tomorrow. But I am thinking about clearly a second Quinel. I already have 2 Onyxes, so one I have leveled and one is going to be leveled sometime soon when I get the space, so I'm not looking at him. Otherwise, I would have been happy to have picked up the second one, and I'm not kidding about that. Asterius has me thinking, but then I'm also thinking, will I use him? He's a good hero, but the important factor is, again, depending on my roster. And Morale, again, brilliant hero. I have always wanted to get him, but for some reason did not. And occasional coins that sit in the inventory, I will pull, and he could pop out from there. So I'm thinking whether I'll be pulling in the Clash of Knights, and that's where I come and sit, that I may end up picking her or Morale, because I prefer to have fast speed heroes, though it really doesn't matter, because I have the troops, so I can also look at this. So the reason for sitting right now, a no-brainer for me in this whole thing, had I not got Senan recently, I would have picked him up. That would have been my first choice. But now that I have him, then she is my obvious choice. But I want to sit and see, like the case happened in the previous 2 soul exchanges, that the one I really wanted turned out to be not the one that I actually picked up, because it made sense to the roster. So my request to every player would be, please look at your roster and pick up the hero that will contribute to your roster. That's point number 1. Really improve your roster. And point number 2 would be, you have the mats. to level the hero up instead of keeping the hero for the next 3 months or 6 months, hoping to level up sometime. That would be completely waste, because in 2 months time the next one will come. So if you're not seeing any hero appealing and can afford to hold on, or see which hero really is going to be leveled up quickly and adds absolute brilliant value to your roster. That's the logic. Please excuse my disappointment, especially compared to the last time, and I was like, oh my god, wow. So it's not there, but when I look at the bottom 5, they do deserve 1 wow for sure, or maybe 2 wows for sure. So thanks for watching. I hope you make your decision, and I hope my thoughts shared over here can have helped. And yeah, there are 15 heroes to talk about, so it's a little bit of a long video, but I'm sure you all understand. Thanks for watching, and wish you a nice day and a good decision ahead. Cheers.